We got one that just walked in the door. It's an AC pump. Part number 4560. Happens to fit a 1937 Caterpillar. Customer elected to hang on to the glass bowl. Sometimes you get them in broken. We'll see if we can't go through this one here and make it brand new again. Normally the first thing to come off would be the glass bowl. But seeing as how it's already off, we don't have to worry about it. Mark the casting any way you can. Scribe a mark. Do a punch. Do a prick punch mark anywhere, as long as it's on both sides or right in line with the arm. Either way. These nuts cover the inlet and outlet valves. There's a gasket underneath each one. There's also a little spring down inside. They're pretty small. But they get the job done. I like to remove the fittings just in case there's something, some crud or something stuck in behind them. Or if you got a problem with the threads, I'll be able to tell. You might want to take pictures of everything so that you make sure everything goes back in the same place. Like these fittings. That one obviously goes straight in, but the other one is straight down. I don't replace the fittings. I don't put them back in. I clean them, but I don't put them back in. I leave that up to the customer. Let's get these screws out of here. A lot of times these are stuck. From being attached, being screwed down for years. Take a putty knife, thin blade, doesn't matter, thin blade knife. Work it in between. I'd be willing to bet that this has never been rebuilt. Or if it was sometime in the 50s. This is an original diaphragm made up of many layers. These are the valves down inside here. You can just knock them out. Get the rest of this diaphragm all peeled away. Finally got a diaphragm that's going to give me trouble, but it happens. A couple of swift hits and it's out. There's a seal down inside. Nice and dried out. Remove it, you're not going to use that again. This is a breather on these. I like to remove those because the bolt gets in the way. You just got to remember to put the bolt back in before I put this breather back in. Kind of oily and grungy. I think I'll let it take a trip through the wash tank first. In the meantime, these are Caterpillar filters. It's a stack of brass washers, wafers I should say, and it filters the fuel. Does a pretty good job too. Be real careful taking these out. That's what they look like inside. Fuel goes up through, or it goes this way and comes back in. So we'll get them out, remove this gasket that's just falling apart, then we'll clean it all up. The valve, the nuts to cover the valves have gaskets underneath them. Make sure you remove them any way you can. You'll get new ones in the kit. Those two are ready for cleaning. This is ready for cleaning. Let me show you what I do with these filters. I got a couple of options. I can clean this. You take it apart very carefully. You can clean them, or I can replace it with a another style filter. But these work great. They worked great since 1937. This is the original diaphragm. One way to tell if you got an original diaphragm in your pump and it needs rebuilding. If it's got this little tab, it's got a staple through here. The reason being, it's multi-layer. There's probably 4 layers, tar-coated canvas. Back in the 30s and 40s, they obviously weren't dealing with the fuels that we have nowadays, and you'd soak this in kerosene before you assembled it. But we don't use those nowadays. The fuel eats these things up like crazy. This is the new diaphragm going in. One piece, made out of Buna N nitrile. The new gas doesn't bother it, and it works for a long time. We make these in-house. Now that everything's cleaned, all the surfaces have been flattened out, same with the body. We've got a few things we have to take care of. Down inside of here is the valve seats. You got to make sure that they're nice and clean. Take a dowel, put a piece of sticky sandpaper on the end of it, something fairly fine. Spin it around a few times. and you'll resurface that. Now you can see it good. Another area to take care of, here and here. Get a flat file, you can go over that. I have tools that I've made up. This is how we do this every day. I've made things so that it makes life a little easier. All around in here has to be checked to make sure that it's nice and clean. You click an old starter drive. Make sure that's all nice and flat in here. A lot of times where the bail goes on either side here, it's here and here. People tend to crank the thing down where the glass bowl sits. They tend to crank it down and it eventually pulls that casting. It's only zinc, cast aluminum, so it bends. Over time it'll get warped and you'll end up with leaks here and here. This part gets pulled down and here leaks. Let's put the valves in. The valves that come in the kit look like this. Drop them in, make sure they're sitting flat. Then you get a spring. Drop it in on top. One gasket for here. Make sure it doesn't get caught on the edges. Make it nice and tight. Do the same thing for the inlet. If it doesn't like to cooperate, just get up from underneath. Spring, gasket. This is what you got to make sure the spring doesn't get caught here and here. If you drop it in there and set it right in the center, you shouldn't have a problem. I don't think I've ever got them caught, so I wouldn't be too concerned. Snug it up. Normally this is where you put, well, let's put this. Funny story about these filters. This particular one, I told you, it's made up of a whole bunch of wafers. See that spot right up in the top? Well, I was able to take them apart and take all the little wafers out. Let me tell you, they're thin. Cleaned them, put them back in. You get the factory gaskets, filters. The bowl gasket. And this side's ready for the glass bowl that the customer didn't send. Onto the body. There's a little lesson about our seals. There's two sides to it. There's a ring around here. The bottom of this aluminum retainer has a groove cut around in it, and it sits right over it. The seal sits like that, down inside. Not this way. Don't try to put it on upside down. This is your sealing surface, right here, and in the center. No other place. By the way, we make those here, those seals. Tap it down. Dent the casting in 4 spots. You don't want that seal coming back up again. Put a little dab of oil right in the center. Put a dab of grease, white grease, Vaseline, anything to keep that pull rod that goes down inside there from running dry. And that's what's next. Now this pump comes with a priming lever that hooks onto the link inside. What you gotta do is get a hole in the center of that. There's a link down inside of here that has to hook onto. So we start the rod heading towards the back, and then come around and catch it. Doesn't always work right the first time. Now it's hooked. To make sure, put your adjustable wrench on the arm, cover over the top just in case it didn't hook on. Yeah, it wasn't seated all the way. Now it is. We're ready for this casting. Find your index mark. Which I'm pretty sure it's one way or the other. Let's inspect it first. Okay, I found it. Over here. We're ready for some screws. Get 2 screws caught. One opposite the other. Running about halfway down. Okay, now take your adjustable. Preload the diaphragm. Pull it all the way down. Pull it down till it stops. And hold it there. A quick test, you won't be able to test the inlet. I can't because there's no bowl on it, but I can test the outlet. And I can assure you that it'll seal. Let me find a bowl. Okay, I found a bowl for it. Now we can test it. Just as I suspected, perfection. Just gotta make sure I take that off before I send it back to the customer. Stick that bolt in, put the breather on. Get this bowl out of the way because I can't tighten it with it in the way. It's ready. There's going to be one happy caterpillar somewhere out there.